I'd like to take a little time to reflect on yesterday's adventure, disaster, what could have been, and lessons learned. So if you've been following, you saw this boat I built. It's a 1968 Lightning class sailboat. Well, it's a Lippincott Marine out of Louisiana. Made this Lightning hull. So I cut off the keel trunk, put the inboard setup, weedless prop. It's pretty much like an inboard mud boat. And I added a little transom yesterday. This is my plan A, is that engine. So if something were to happen and that engine dies out, or I break a shaft, something where the engine no longer works, I have plan B. That's a 2-stroke 3.5 horsepower Nissan. It pushes this boat half throttle or full throttle. It's the same speed, 4.5 miles per hour. So it will get me home without a doubt. And it did that yesterday. So everything was going good, but see the corrosion on this tank? This motor is a mid-70s model VM Motori DM175 diesel. Not a lot of information on this thing. In fact, there's almost no information. The only information you'll find on a Google search is me on internet forums trying to figure out what this thing was. So I did find out that it is VM Motori. VM Motori has no information on it except that they made it over 50 years ago. That means no parts are available, nothing. So what happened was the fuel tank from the 70s, the vibration, I guess it's hitting metal on metal somewhere on the opposite side of the tank. She started spewing diesel, and if I can, I'll show a little clip of the diesel dripping, but it was spraying diesel out the tank. So got that problem. I'm going to change the fuel tank. So I was dripping diesel all over the belt. The belt was slipping, starting to smoke. So I was down to like 2 miles an hour with a slipping belt. Even if I tied a rope and pulled it tighter, it was, I mean, rubber's still going to slip. So anyways, had that issue going on. And then I started taking on water. I went to the Gulf of Mexico yesterday, which you probably shouldn't be in a 19-foot flat bottom boat in the Gulf of Mexico. While front's coming through, it was pretty choppy. So I noticed water was coming in through a little hairline crack right there. Now you only see the crack now because the diesel dripped in the boat, and it just like embedded dirt in there and it stained it. But water was coming in, and that crack is about a foot long. So water was coming in. I was pumping out with my little water cup, and it was coming in about as fast as I can pump, but I was maintaining it. I quit driving this because it was just, the belt was slipping so much. I hooked up, I threw this on the transom, started going in with this. But the problem with this is I have to sit, for the back here to drive it, and the water was coming in faster. So my next option would have been to just sit on the bow and paddle, because if I sit on the bow, the stern comes out the water and it wouldn't have leaked. But thankfully, my brother lived about an hour away. He decided to make the trip, and he told me, we got home much faster, and I bailed out as he was telling me. So this worked good. The backup motor worked fine. It's got a couple little quirks I got to deal with, but that's fine. What I discovered is that bottom right here is less than a 16th thick, and I never even noticed, but the waves of the Gulf of Mexico was pounding against the bottom of the hull, and it just cracked it. If you don't see the crack on the bottom, that's where the keel was. I cut that off, and that is way thinner than I thought. So this could have been a disaster yesterday. I mean, I'm literally in the Gulf of Mexico. The water is deep. Nothing out there cares about you. This boat would have sunk. I would have just had to abandon it, cut my losses. But this could have been a life-changing situation. It could have been a life-ending situation. So I advise, before you venture off and do crazy stuff like this, make sure you're an experienced boater and you know what to do in situations. So everything's wet this morning. That is my drain plug. While I was on the trailer, I pulled that plug out where it clogged up. I had this gas cans were floating in here. I had water up to here, so everything in here floated and got wet. So I got to deal with that today. Just lessons learned, in my opinion. Never assume that the fiberglass is as thick as you thought it was. There's no support there, and I was planning on adding support. I planned on, once I get all the bugs worked out on the boat, I'm gonna remove the whole top deck. I'm gonna make shelves in there, storage. I'm not gonna use that back for anything but storage. So I planned on doing that, just not so soon. So now today's plan, if the rain holds off, I'm gonna do some sanding, and I'm gonna cut a one-piece floor out of this. It's called honeycomb, is what we call it. It's made out of the same ingredients as fiberglass. It doesn't absorb the resin, but the resin sticks to it. That's what this whole floor is. You can see the honeycomb pattern in the floor. But this is solid. You can drive a truck over it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do back here. Reinforce the bottom. But I'm thinking at this point, just take a break from riding the boat, call it refined enough, and strip everything out the boat and finish the repairs. I still have, see this gray stuff on the wall? That's foam with a very, very thin layer of either epoxy or fiberglass resin. Problem is, new fiberglass won't stick to it. So where the old floor meets the new floor, you can't really see it. It's not sealed right there because I can't seal that stuff. So water does get under the front compartment. So I gotta put the boat nose down, let the water drain, get all the water out of there. But that's all small stuff, and you can see where I made my motor mounts. All that's got to be sanded and another coated fiberglass resin. All in all, the boat's pretty cool. It's slow. I mean, it's not something you're gonna go fast in and enjoy your day. It's something you can cruise, go slow, do some fishing, just enjoy nature. This little Nissan did pretty good. The transom is kind of tall, and when I'm in the water moving, the wake actually goes higher than this. So I put it at this height. It allows me to still drive in shallow water if I need to. And I need to make a temporary mount inside the boat where I'm not using the motor. I can just put it on a bracket where it stays upright all the time. This fuel cap leaks. I got to try to find another fuel cap or find another seal, and for the life of me, I can't see why it's not sealing. But cross that bridge another day. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Learn from my mistakes, and don't be foolish enough to go out into open waters with shady equipment. I am an experienced boater. I've been boats my entire life, so I'm not saying I'm smarter or I know more what I'm doing. 'Cause obviously I didn't foresee that, but it can get dangerous out there pretty quick, and there's not much you can do about it. I do have one life vest. It floated way in the front, but it's behind the toolbox. And then my brother was on his way. When I saw the leak, I had him start coming to get me. So I mean, I guess I was rescued. But where I was at, there's really nobody around. You'd have to try to call Coast Guard if you have cell phone service. Other than that, the belt drive system worked good until diesel dripped on it. So my next plan is to remove that tank and fabricate another tank and relocate it from on top of the belt. I also have a brand new Donaldson style air filter. That is the antique oil bath air filter. It makes a mess because I don't have the seal for it, so that's why the floor is all dirty. That oil from that filter dripped out. Enjoy your day.